All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Got a bunch of stuff for you today. Marjorie Taylor Greene called for war with Mexico. I'll lead with that in just a second here. I also have Donald Trump finally coming out and speaking on his candidates getting draxed in the midterm elections. He hasn't really addressed it to this point. He decided to break that streak and dive right into the deep end. And needless to say, his excuses are hilarious. We also have a massive bombshell story on corruption now proven with the Supreme Court. It's been a lot of, it's been a lot of like speculation to this point as to exactly what money are they taking, how are they taking it, where are their conflicts of interest. But we have some more hardcore reporting now that really, can detail and track where they're getting their money from and the massive issues with it. And then later on in the show, we have a story about the Good Liars went to, I don't know if it was a Trump rally, it was some sort of political event, and they got a Trump supporter to kind of admit maybe slavery was a good thing. So, I mean, I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating. I assure you I'm not. And then also I have a conservative host decided to blame Southwest Airlines shitting the bed and melting down. They pin the blame on wokeness. Not kidding. Okay, so a lot of stuff to get to. Without further ado, let's dive into it here. So this is in raw story. This is a glorious one here. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene called for bombing raids in Mexico to curtail illegal drug trafficking. Yeah, Marjorie, if only we did some sort of war on, say, drugs, that would totally fix our problems. That would totally be, it's not, we've never tried that before. We've never tried a war on drugs. The Georgia Republican revived a plan floated by Donald Trump based on accounts written in books by former Defense Secretary Mark Esper and New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman to conduct targeted missile strikes against Mexican drug cartels. Quote, President Trump was right, Greene tweeted. We should bomb the cartels because they are an international criminal organization murdering our people by lacing deadly fentanyl from China in drugs they illegally sell across our border to U.S. citizens. Not Mexico or its great people, the cartels. Greene offered a possible preview of the incoming Republican majority's legislative priorities in a series of tweets blaming President Joe Biden and his son Hunter for the explosion in fentanyl use that began during Trump's presidency. Okay, so let's break this down. Has there been an increase in fentanyl use / abuse, and as a result of that, overdoses and deaths because it's a very powerful drug? The answer is yes. The question is, why is that? How do we get to that point? And the answer is effectively the opposite of what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying here. We had a pain pill problem in this country, and you had, Big Pharma being unscrupulous, basically selling it. They were the drug dealers and the addicts were the pain pill abusers, and you had these pill mills in Florida and other places, and it was a big issue. I'm not downplaying this issue. We had about 30,000 deaths a year as a result of overdoses, largely because of these pain pills, opioids, opiates, etc. And what happened is everybody noticed the problem, and the government said, well, we're going to step in and crack down on this pain pill use. And they did. And, they have new guidelines now as to when and how doctors can prescribe it. It's very strict. It used to be much more lax. And so there was a massive reduction in this pain pill use. It's very difficult to get those pain pills now. So as a result of that, you took people who were addicts, they were addicted to the pills, and they had nowhere to get their fix. So they went to the black market and they started using heroin because, of course, the pain pills are kind of like a version of heroin. It's the same drug derivative. And so the heroin would reduce their pain. They would meet their addiction, get their fix. And what happened is heroin, of course, is sold on the black market. So you have unscrupulous mafia cartel gangsters selling it. And it began getting cut with fentanyl. Fentanyl is way more powerful than heroin. So people would take what was effectively their normal dose of heroin, but they would die. They would OD because it was laced with fentanyl. There's speculation that's how Philip Seymour Hoffman died. There's speculation that's how Michael K. Williams died. And so the number of overdose deaths went from about 30,000 per year during the height of the pain pill crisis. Now it's 100,000 per year. So this is the government stepped in with good intentions and said, well, we got to fix this pain pill problem, but they actually made the problem worse. That's a verifiable, provable fact. It's in the numbers. And Marjorie Taylor Greene's solution is, well, why don't we just bomb the drug cartels? Hey, Marjorie, there's been a war on drugs since Nixon. Has that worked to eradicate the drug use, to reduce the overdose deaths? No, if anything, it's the opposite. And we have the evidence historically from Prohibition. There was a time when we banned alcohol in America. And you know what happened? People started dying from drinking alcohol. Why? Because it was made on the black market by unscrupulous actors in bathtubs, and it was cut with stuff that was poisonous, and then some people would have a bad batch and die. It was when we legalized, taxed, and regulated alcohol that it got more safe. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't issues with alcohol. Of course there are. Some people are alcoholics, they can't handle it, but you don't take the freedom away from normal people because others can't handle it. You give the people who need the help. I think the same thing applies to the drug war. And by the way, how many dead bodies are there as a result of the war on drugs? Probably over 100,000. And she thinks this is some brilliant, why don't we just escalate the war on drugs? How the fuck? So you're going to send U.S. planes to do airstrikes or U.S. drones to do drone strikes in Mexico. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie. Mexico is a sovereign country. You think AMLO is going to sign off on that? Of course he's not going to fucking sign off on that. There's no way. And so then you would be violating their sovereignty, committing an act of aggression and doing a war crime in their country. And by the way, the idea that we'd have perfect intelligence and we know exactly where the drug cartels are, that's fucking bogus. We know that's bogus. We just covered the story coming out of Afghanistan about how we would do these raids at night and we got the wrong people like 80 or 90% of the time. And you trust these same people, these intelligence agencies, to get you the exact coordinates of top-level drug cartels. I guarantee you there'd be massive numbers of civilian casualties if you start doing bombing raids in Mexico. How fucking stupid. The thing that's astonishing to me is just the level of idiocy. The idea that this woman is in a position of power, that Trump was in a position of power and he floated the same thing. By the way, one of the things Trump added to his rally speeches now is, I believe in the death penalty for drug dealers. What? He cites China, they don't have a drug problem there, they just kill the drug dealers. Dude, you freed Alice Johnson, who was in prison for dealing drugs. Now, she didn't even know she was doing it in that instance, but you freed her. You were right to free her. You did the First Step Act, which was a step in the other direction. And now all of a sudden you're like, we should murder drug dealers? What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You want to murder the head of Anheuser-Busch, the CEO? You want to murder the people who make Xanax? Is that what you want to do? People make tens of millions of dollars and make massive bonuses because it's corporate America, so it's official. No, he just means the brown drug dealers. The ones selling the drugs I don't like. This idea is mental. It's mental. So Trump said it. Hey, let's bomb Mexico. Let's start a war with Mexico to go after the drug cartels. Something they would never fucking agree to because we were already waging a war and violence begets more violence. The answer is to legalize, tax, and regulate. Trump said it. Now Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying it, and she thinks it's some sort of brilliant idea like nobody ever conceived of waging a war on, say, drugs. And there's one other person who, and remember, so she's criticizing Biden here. But Biden's too weak, bro. Why doesn't he fucking crack down, bro? He needs to start bombing the cartels and stuff, bro. He needs to wage a war on drugs. Well, by the way, he did the crime bill. He was one of the architects of, the tough on crime laws of the 1990s. But look at this. Look at this. So this is from Holding Biden Accountable. So the headline in Raw Story was Marjorie Taylor Greene smears Biden family to call for bombing raids against Mexico. And here's Joe Biden. This is back in probably the 1990s, maybe the 80s, but I think the 90s. Let's go after the drug lords where they live with an international strike force. So Biden agreed with that perspective. Now, to his credit, he's not doing that now, and I don't think that's on the table. I don't think he's going to do it. This was like, the tough on crime era in the 90s when everybody was trying to be more hawkish than the other. But this is our politics. It's just total idiots blabbering and have no fucking clue what they're talking about. They don't know, they wouldn't know a real solution if it hit them in the face. And apparently there's way too much bipartisan agreement. That's a point that we need to come back to more often. Because, you hear people say, oh my God, there's too much polarization. Not enough bipartisanship. We need to come together and work together and stuff. Well, oftentimes when people come together and work together, it's to do stuff like the Iraq War or deregulate Wall Street or approve of illegal NSA spying. That's bad bipartisanship. Bipartisanship isn't inherently good or bad. It depends on the substance. It depends on the specifics. Well, here we have an issue where, at least nominally, they all agree on like the dumbest possible idea. The dumbest possible idea. So no, I see this is the problem with the right too, man. Like they will go after Biden in every idiotic way. If Biden ever does anything good, that's when they're like, I'm outraged. I'm outraged. Remember when he actually pulled the troops out of Afghanistan? I've never seen the media or the right melt down more and been more aggressive against Biden. It's like the one half-decent thing he did, and then, by the way, he fucked it all up because he sanctioned the shit out of Afghanistan and wouldn't give them their own money. But the one half-decent thing he did, okay, boots on the ground out of Afghanistan. Oh my God, they melted down. They melted down. They're one of their famous lines of attack on Biden now is, he's fucking for open borders, bro. Meanwhile, he kept Remain in Mexico and Title 42 in place most of his time in office, and then now, I think the Supreme Court forced him to put back in place Title 42, or I don't know if it was the Supreme Court or a lower court. So he's doing a lot of Trump-era policies, and the right's reaction is, this guy's for open borders, bro. He's weak on the borders. Even though he was VP during the Deporter-in-Chief's administration, because Obama broke all deportation records, and even though he's continuing a lot of Trump's policies, bro, he's too weak on the border, he needs to be tougher. So every time the Republicans take a shot at Biden, it's always on the dumbest fucking shit imaginable. So your criticism, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is start a war with Mexico. Why are you not doing a war with Mexico? Let's do that. Yeah, because that's exactly what we need right now. That's what we need. It's not like there's not enough, chaos and mayhem going on right now with North Korea doing missile tests every 7 fucking minutes and Russia, invading and occupying Ukraine and all the other issues in the world. Let's start another war. That's good. We have 85 million Americans who are uninsured or underinsured, and 45,000 who die every year because they don't have health care. Go bomb Tijuana. Good idea. Let's bomb Tijuana. Fucking asshole. Jesus Christ. So anyway, there you have it. Marjorie Taylor Greene reminding us who she is and what she is. And man, the thing that's so frustrating to me is how far the answers to a lot of our problems are simple. I know that that's probably a politically incorrect thing to say, and people will disagree with that, but it's true. You want to help fix this country, you can do some very simple things. Raise the minimum wage to a living wage. Do some sort of recurring stimulus check, like a UBI type situation. Do universal health care. Like, lower prescription drug prices. They already did that for seniors and above. Like, everybody who's old now gets lower prescription drug prices for certain drugs. They already did it on that front. Just do it for all the drugs. Like, the solutions are simple, but nobody really does them. Because, Congress is corrupt. And then you also have people who are giant fucking idiots who run this country. So, very pathetic, to say the least. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.